I know, right? Well, happy Tuesday to you. Welcome so much to the show. So great to see you here with me live. You're joining me on the replay. Happy replay day to you as well. But for those of you who are with me right now, I'm excited to welcome you to today's live Level Up conversation.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Market Update. Award-winning financial pro. Get ready. I present to you Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Well, hello, Joshua, and hello, CrossX Fighter, joining us on YouTube Live. It is wonderful to be here with you. I'm having a great day, especially since I'm here with you now, so that makes it awesome. And Vicky Garvey, happy Tuesday to you on Facebook Live, and so many of you, wow, joining us today live. It is a treat to be here with you. Now, for those of you who are brand new to the show, I'm Winnie Sun, your host, Forbes contributor, CNBC Council member, and award-winning financial pro. And we keep you on top of relevant trending business news. It makes it so much fun. And believe it or not, financial news can be very fascinating. It really is. But most importantly, what makes our show special is that we have people like Joshua joining us and Vicky joining us and you joining us. So definitely don't be shy. We'd love to hear where you're joining us from, how your week's going, what's the most interesting thing you learned or read today. Those are things I would love to hear. And of course, if you dressed up for Halloween, don't be shy. Share a picture. Love to see. In fact, I don't know if you noticed, but I watched earlier that Heidi Klum, she always has the most epic Halloween costumes. She dressed up as a worm yesterday. I'm not sure if that has more meaning, but it was a pretty interesting costume for sure. We're going to be sharing audience feedback through our community moments here on the show. But if you don't know, we are going live here on 8 or 9 or 10 different social media platforms. So wherever you're joining us from, welcome to the show. We're going to be monitoring your comments. So if you have anything interesting you'd like to add or just, have a fun comment, feel free to drop them in the comments below and we'll try and share them throughout so everybody can see. So let's talk about how the market closed. Dun, dun, dun. Some days, Sadiq knows. Sadiq, hello from LinkedIn Live. It's great to have you with us. I wish I always had positive news to share with you. In fact, October overall for the financial markets, October was actually pretty good. A lot of positivity in October. Not that surprising given that there was some actually pockets of good news in terms of corporate earnings coming in. But of course, the midterm elections is coming in next week and we couldn't have a bad market going into that, right? I don't know. But today, unfortunately, triple down day. Dow closed down 79 points. NASDAQ closed down 97 points. And the S&P 500 also down 15 points. So triple down day, as we say here in Level Up. Certainly, what's going on, like what happened from yesterday and day before to today, like all of a sudden things changed rapidly because of Halloween. Well, not so much, but one thing that we are sort of watching here, and a lot of investors are watching, and you might be watching, and now that you might be watching as well, is the Federal Reserve. They're going to come back out tomorrow and make an announcement on how much they're going to increase interest rates yet again. So, like we said before, well, let's say you're renting, you're looking to purchase a home or looking to refinance your home or looking to downsize or upsize your home. And well, mortgage rates, unfortunately, aren't going to get any lower because it looks like the expectation is the Fed will be increasing interest rates by about 75 basis points, which equals 0.75%. So that's the expectation. The Fed's probably going to increase rates again. But what the market is really sort of paying attention to and trying to get clues on is how much the Fed will be increasing interest rates in December. Now, I know many of you aren't even thinking about the Fed right now. You're thinking about Thanksgiving. You're thinking about the holidays. You're thinking about how much it's going to take to fill up your gas tank. You're wondering how much, your grocery bill is going to be. Those are the things you're really concerned about. Well, the concept is if we increase interest rates to some point, then it'll sort of quiet down inflation a bit. Hopefully, inflation levels are getting to better levels, and then the price of goods for you, and when you fill up the car and other things that you pay for, hopefully will come down in price a little bit, or at least not rise just as quickly. So that's the concept. So Fed Chairman Jerome Powell is expected to make the announcement tomorrow. So we're all waiting to hear that. So that's why some of that was sort of trickled down into the financial news as well. And I see Suzanne Carroll. So great to see you on LinkedIn Live. Thank you so much for joining us. Wow, lots of new friends today. Thank you so much for being here with us. Now, it wouldn't be a true level up day if we didn't talk about some of that interesting financial business news that we need to talk about. And that is, let's talk about Elon Musk. Now, I know, Sadiq, you've been sending me some information about this on Twitter. You may have seen my co host from tomorrow's show, In the Loop, Greg Nibbler, talking about billionaires. I wonder which billionaire we're talking about. Well, Elon Musk continues the saga. If you didn't get a chance to see, well, he dressed up for Halloween. He was very animated and excited for Halloween. This is a big thing. I mean, it's just, he just, wrote a check for $40+ billion to buy this like little social media powerhouse news source called Twitter. And well, he celebrated party hardy yesterday, and now it's all over. And he's led a lot of people that Twitter had originally blocked in the last few years. People who may have, shared what they deem to be false news, talking about false news, not only with politics, but also with the pandemic and COVID, where a lot of those people are coming back to Twitter. He's let them back on. They've actually publicly on Twitter thanked him for letting them. So those are things that are coming. I mean, let me know what you think about this, but it's coming. The other thing is that, see, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about $8 and why this photo. This is actually what Elon dressed like as Halloween, his Halloween costume from yesterday. I'm not quite sure what it is, but not that it's, I just don't know what it is. If you do know what it is, if you know what the costume is, feel free to clue me in, because I actually don't know. But what we do know is this. We're still wondering what new Twitter is going to look like, right? So we do know that it's changing by the day. It almost seems like it's changing by the hour. Definitely, Elon is all in. He's looking to make changes. He's making changes that he feels very strongly about, and he's not wasting any time. In fact, one of the areas they talked about today is exactly what that tweet that he just shared is all about, and that is sort of the $8 a month plan. So his plan is not only just to get those who have blue check marks, who are verified users, but he wants a lot of people to pay $8 a month. Now, he didn't originally he didn't go into that much detail of what the $8 a month would entail, but he just said, you know what, no more of this, blue check mark for verified people and stuff like that. If you want a blue check mark, we're going to get you a blue check mark as long as you pay that $8 a month. And in fact, he's saying this later on. He added, and he said this is some of the things that are going to be added in for that $8 a month. Well, first off, you definitely he's encouraging you to follow him on Twitter now that he is Chief Twit, so that you can follow what this is going to include. But this is what I learned so far. He's posted that this could be adjusted, the $8 a month could be adjusted by country, just depends on the country and the purchasing power there. And of course, you're also going to get priority in replies, mentions, and search, which he says is essential to defeating spam and scam, he says. Okay, so priority replies, mentions, and search, essential to defeat spam reply. Now, we do know he actually has laid off a bunch of people in the Twitter department who sort of are in charge of funneling through what's spam and what's fake news and stuff. I guess it was over 200 people in this department, hundreds of people in the department, and that he's let go a whole bunch of people. So I guess if you get your blue check mark, you'll have priority, which is essential to defeating spam and scam. So does that mean that those who are able to pay $8 a month tend not to share spam and scam? I guess that's how I'm reading it. Let me know what you think about that. I see Vicky sharing a whole bunch right now, and I see Robin Stevens joining us on LinkedIn Live as well. I want to hear what you think about. Do you think that if someone's able to pay $8 a month, then therefore they're probably not going to share as much fake news or spam or troll or bots and things like that? Possibly, right? Because I think most bots probably wouldn't want to pay $8 a month, but yeah, so these are one of the things you would get for $8 a month. You could also have the ability to post longer video and audio, which I know my team and I, that's something that's important to us. So that's probably something that we would embrace. He also said half as many ads, which I'm guessing many of you would agree is a good thing. We all get way too much bombarded by ads, right? Everywhere we go. Also, bypassing paywalls for publishers willing to work with us. That's what he says. I agree with this. It drives me up the wall when I see a trending story or an article and you press the article to read it and there's a paywall. Doesn't that bug you? It bugs me like crazy. I feel like if it's going to be a trending article, if you've given the opportunity to be a trending article and trending topic, I feel like the publisher should, in that case, take away the paywall, right? If the reader enjoys your content, they might go to your site and look at other content, and then they would have the option to sign up and subscribe and pay for your service. But let's be honest, if it's a trending story, that paywall needs to go. Agree? Disagree? I want to hear that. I want to hear your thoughts on that as well, okay? And they're saying that he's saying that this will give obviously Twitter a revenue stream, and this revenue stream, he says maybe he'll share it because he might be rewarding content creators, which will be really interesting. So Twitter is going to be taking on like a bite out of YouTube, bite out of Instagram, TikTok, right? If you create content, we will now share. So then what's that going to look like? So I always thought that Twitter was more of like a really great place to have communication, like, you know, it's almost like texting, but also your go-to places for all things news. Now you're going to bring the creators to come and create content, and Twitter share revenue is going to be a very, very different environment. Not saying that it's bad or good. I think it's going to be very different, and I'll be interested to see how the different audiences are going to be able to navigate through Twitter to look for the content that's really resonates and interesting to them. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I want to go through tons of videos that don't really relate to the interests that I have. I like to go to Twitter. I like to get news. I like to see the people that I connect with, what they're sharing. Because I think the people that I follow are really, really smart. So it'll be interesting to see how you think about all that. All right. There's also going to be a secondary tag, he says. Now, for those who are verified, like myself, you know, a lot of people try to use my name on different social media platforms. They fake. They even use my image, my name, and everything to try to be me. And I think there's so many other people in that situation, right? Like real celebrities, they have to deal with this all the time. So that blue check mark was able to help us quickly identify who was real, who wasn't real, and when they shared information to be able to identify if it was fake or is actually from that source. Well, he's saying not to worry. The blue check mark is one you can buy for $8 a month, but for like the real, so he's talking about politicians and celebrities, for example. Well, they're going to have a secondary tag below their name for public figures. Now, I included an example of this so you can see what this looks like, because honestly, I didn't really notice it. So I had to look into this. So I looked up the profile for California's Governor Gavin Newsom, and you'll see right underneath his name, you see Governor Candidate of California. So there it is. So it's not the blue check mark. He's got a white check mark, but it's like right underneath there. So now you're going to have to spend a little bit more time. You just can't look for the blue check mark because you can buy that for $8 a month. And therefore, a lot of people are going to start getting it because obviously Elon wants more people to pay $8 a month. And so that way he can have some recurring income to obviously pay back himself and his shareholders, and of course to be able to reinvest in the company. In theory, this is what I'm thinking. I don't talk to Elon. I don't know what he's thinking, but I'm going to think from a business owner, for someone who wants to get their money back at some point, this is what they're thinking, right? So that's what's going on with Twitter. So I would love if you could jump in, let me know what you think. I have read that in the last week or so, the amount of negativity, I guess curse words, really derogatory language and negative tone undertones of tweets has increased, but I think I read like over 500% in just like the last few days. It's probably been up even more so since then because I was reading in just a couple hours. So imagine the negativity that has now come back and resurfaced on Twitter. That to me is very concerning because I think we went through that during many of the early years, right? And that was finally cleaned up, and Twitter banned a lot of those people from being on social. If that comes back, I don't know what that's going to look like. And frankly, I think a lot of people, they might be turned off. I'm curious to see how you feel about that, right? So that's what we know so far on Elon Musk. That will continue. I promise you, we'll have more content about that. I'll keep you updated as I learn more. But we got to pay attention to that because it's going to be really interesting. Now, let's talk about other interesting businesses. Okay. I have a story that I think just proves that it's not about how much you earn, but how much you save, and most importantly, how much you keep, right? Well, sometimes we think it's just us, right? Maybe we overspent, or maybe we're too optimistic and we sort of, we might be struggling more than others, or so we think it's us. But of course, really wealthy companies, like very large companies, publicly traded companies, they don't make these mistakes, right? They know better. They've got, Harvard MBAs, they've got all these smart people working at these companies' leadership. So they should be smart. Well, not always the case. And this is why I want to share this story as a good example of why just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean you're always the smartest person in the class. Well, Uber's revenue, believe it or not, is up 72%. This is as of from 2021 last year. But they posted a loss. That's right. They just reported earnings. And although they had strong revenue growth, well, guess what? They really didn't do so great. So they posted a net loss. Now, in part of why they reported a net loss is because guess what? They invested their money. That's right. They invested some of their money in other businesses. Some of these other businesses are actually similar in line of business that they're in, other like ride sharing businesses and things like that. Well, even though revenue was over $8 billion for third quarter of this year, but so that's a 72% increase from the year before, just so you know. But they invested very poorly. So because of that, they had a net loss of $361 million. That's right. So 124 million people actually use Uber monthly. This was between the months of July through September of this year, which is actually a jump of about 14% from last year. So they're doing great. They have more people using it. It's like pre-pandemic times where more the driver before they actually a lot of drivers stopped driving during the pandemic. It seems like they've returned. That their numbers of Uber drivers is similar to pre-pandemic levels. People are going back. They're getting rides from there. And they're making money again, but they made poor investment decisions, and therefore, numbers don't look so great. So, yet a good example of it's not what you earn, but how much you save, right? And how you invest. Super, super important. Now, let's talk about some good news. I actually try for every show to share with you some good news because I feel like in the time of craziness, we need good news. And I'm a really positive person. I try to be. So, and you deserve it because, I appreciate you so much for watching this show. This is some good news. All right. Say what you will about Jeff Bezos. Some of you love him. Some of you hate him. Some of you think he's a very interesting person. That would be me included. But here's the thing. Amazon is now going to give you access to over 10 million songs in their music catalog now for free. Okay. So if you already have Prime membership, of course, if you don't have Prime membership, you probably need to have Prime membership to do this. But if you have Prime membership, there's another thing that you're going to get without ads. So 100 million songs you'll have access to without ads. Also, you're going to have access to a whole bunch of podcasts, which will be ad-free. Now, some of these podcasts will include NPR's podcast, really popular, the New York Times, CNN, ESPN, a lot of really popular podcasts that used to be inundated with advertising, and now you'll get those ad-free. Now, there is a caveat to this. So it's not like you can go into Amazon Prime's music system and just like pull up whatever songs you want one at a time. In order to get this for free, you are going to have to listen by like shuffling artists, playlists, albums, and things like that. But you will be able to download that so that you have access to that in case you're in an area that doesn't have signal. You just want to be, you won't be able to just like, I think, just play one song at a time. It'll be part of a like a playlist or a bigger thing. You'll have to check this out. Let me know how this works. I haven't tested it out yet. Obviously, I read this in financial news. I wanted to share this with you. But Amazon Prime, as you remember, it used to be $119 a year. It's jumped up to $139 a year, which, let's be honest, is quite a lot of money. So they had to continue to give us more features and benefits to justify that cost, in addition to their convenient shipping speed, right? So that's good. But with that, many of you probably already know who have Amazon Prime. You probably also saw I think they gave you a Grubhub membership as well. So this is another addition that they've added. And then in fact, because we're in November now, let's just say that November and December, some tremendous offers and deals. A lot of companies are going to be a lot more aggressive in earning your business and wanting your membership, that $8, that type of stuff. That stuff's going to come a lot. So I would say during the next 2 months, as we go into the end of the year, be really, really mindful. What is it that you absolutely need? What can you live without? And most importantly, prioritize yourself. Make sure that you get your financial planning in order. Make sure you get those financial goals. I know, the boring stuff. But it's so important. Make sure to put yourself first, because these companies, they have a lot of things to sell you, a lot of things to excite you about, but I want to make sure that you come first in your book. Okay. So with that, I know Vicky's saying Black Friday deals and all that. And so thank you so much, my friends, for being here and joining in. Hopefully that was interesting. And for those of you who, if you do like try out some of these features, like if you try out this new Amazon All Access playlisting, let me know. Report back to me if you do try it. Let me know how you like it. And if you share in comments, just go ahead and tweet it out, tag me on it so I can reply to you. I can thank you on the show. And of course, thank you so much for watching and supporting our program. I just want to ask you to share our show, of course. And as a reminder, you can find full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Roku, and so many other platforms. And thank you so much for checking out, of course, Yes Factor with Winnie Sun, which is now on Apple Podcasts and so many other places. So wherever you tune in the podcast, check out Yes Factor with Winnie Sun. I really appreciate it. With that, see you again tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be with my good friend Greg Nibbler. I'm going to bring with you our fun show also called In the Loop. See you tomorrow. Take care now.